The What Works Clearinghouse's Providing Reading Interventions for Students in Grades 4 through 9 Practice Guide provides evidence-based recommendations for supporting students' reading and writing development in intervention settings. In this video, I will demonstrate providing students with opportunities to ask and answer questions as they read. This practice is part of Recommendation 3, Part B, consistently provides students with opportunities to ask and answer questions to better understand the text they read. Throughout the video, notice that I select texts with ample opportunities to ask or answer different types of questions depending on what students need, explicitly teach students to find and justify their answers to each type of question, and support students to collaborate while answering questions. My students have made some progress in their ability to keep track of and remember what they've read. When we started working together, they showed a lot of interest in multiple topics, especially anything having to do with art. And prior to reading, they showed they were able to activate their own background knowledge about a topic and develop their own questions to set a purpose for reading. However, they all had difficulty comprehending what they read, and this was very clear when asked questions that used specific information from the text. I have explicitly taught students that they should expect to discuss what they read. I have also taught students to categorize questions into 3 question types: write there questions, think and search questions, and author and me questions. The simplest questions are write there questions, a type of text-dependent question for which the answer is stated in one sentence of the text. After students mastered write there questions, I introduced think and search questions. This type of question is still text-dependent, but to answer it, a reader must put multiple pieces of information together across several sentences. Author and me questions are the most complex type of question. They require the reader to connect information in the text they have just read to their own prior experience or learning. Author and me questions are also known as inferential questions. When we teach students to answer questions, we should start with write there questions, then move to think and search questions, and finally, author and me questions. Students should demonstrate mastery of each question type before they move to the next. It is important to remember to include opportunities to practice previously learned question types as we learn the next type of question. My students have been showing more independence in answering write there and think and search questions. To give students plenty of opportunities to practice with author and me questions, I've carefully chosen this text about water pollution. This text will build on knowledge I know students are developing in their science class as they study ecosystems and biodiversity. All right, readers, so we know as readers, we can think and talk about what we read. That's what makes reading fun, talking with other readers. And as readers, we can also ask and answer questions as we read. The most complex type of question is called the author and me question. When we use author and me questions, we need to use a certain set of steps.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's go over the steps, and the most important thing to do first is to think about that question before we use the steps to answer the question. The first step is read the question, and you're going to identify what is the most important thing the question is asking about. After that, you can go ahead and start looking in the actual text. When you look in the actual text, first you read the paragraph. Next, you make connections between the text and what you've learned or read about or experienced. Then you decide what the author meant. That's the you piece. That's the author and me, right? Author and me. I get to decide with what the author gave me what that means. And then finally, I need to justify my answer. I can't just make the answer based on me. I have to make it based on the author and me. When we justify our answer, you identify info in the text that supports what you're thinking. We're going to use these steps with a new text today, and it's a text that you might know some things about. You might not know the entire topic, but you might know a little bit about the topic. The text today is called Poison in the Water, art and environmental activism. We're going to read this text together, and then we're going to dig in and think about some author and me questions. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. So now that we've read this text about this piece of artwork, we're going to answer a very specific author me question that uses information from the text and what we understand about the topic. Here comes the question. What can you conclude based on this information? And there's a lot of information here. Is this information only about one thing? Is it only about crops?
No.
Is it only about the spiritual damage?
No.
No. There's a lot of information, and that's what makes this an author and me question. Some questions are going to ask us to look at a certain piece of the text itself. So what I want you to do right now is to find the paragraph that starts with the Navajo Nation. Nice. All right. Find these sentences from the text, and when you find them, I want you to highlight them. Now that you've highlighted that text, I want you to read it again to yourself. And I want you to put a star over what you think is the most important information here. Okay, so tell us, what did you think was the most important information here?
When it said people who use this water for their business could not earn money for over a week.
Anybody agree with that or have something different?
I have something different.
You have something different? You have something different?
I have something similar. So I thought two parts were very important. I thought that the spiritual damage was really important too, because like I know if I'm not feeling so good spiritually, then like I don't feel good physically. So I feel like that would just like make a more effect on them.
So now let's return to that question, right? The question is, what can you conclude based on this information? What can you conclude about what the impact of the poison was in the water based on this information? Think. And then turn to your partner to discuss what you think you can conclude based on this information. Justify what you're saying by pointing to information in the text. So let's go ahead and try that out. Turn and talk.
I conclude that the Navajo people really need the river for survival, because without it, some people won't be able to handle their businesses, so they won't make any money, and some people won't be able to make food because they won't be able to grow their crops.